Hello and welcome to Cover 2 TV. I'm Chris Pajak, that's Tom Jennings, and this is Stay Hall. It's your weekly preview show, this time for week 3 of the NFL. We're going to look at 4 games in depth, and then we're going to take a spin around the league. I've done that twice now. I'm very conscious. It's now the thing, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to take a spin around the league to look at all the other games that will be happening this weekend. The games that we're going to cover are Baltimore at Jaguars, which is the Wembley game. We've got Denver at Buffalo, Browns at Colts, and Giants at Eagles, and then the aforementioned spin around the league. Jenno? Spin around the league. Yeah, come on, baby.
It's very much a thing.
It's God's thanks, Steve.
I get more excited about it.
Okay, so we'll start off with the Wembley game. Baltimore Ravens, Jacksonville Jaguars. Excited? Are you going to this, anyone?
We're going to
We're
Browns.
terrible,
We're going to Browns.
We're terrible. We've got an NFL show, and we've got NFL games in England, and we're not going to it.
If someone wants to pay us to go, by all means. But until more people start watching the YouTube and give us a bit more. If you want to send us to Wembley, get your mates to watch more of the shows.
Do it now. What are you doing with your life? What else are you doing? Like, go and sort us out. We want to go and see the Ravens at the Jags at Wembley. We are going to the Vikings-Browns game. Yes. Go Vikings.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
What fucking
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. So, listen, first of all, Steve, you've put some stats together for us. Baltimore, first-ranked defence against Jacksonville Jaguars, who have a rather basic run game.
The Jags are playing 1980s style football in the last 2 games, or at least that's what they've tried to do. The first game, it worked to an absolute T against the Houston Texans, play strong defence, get turnovers, and just run Leonard Fournette into the ground. I don't know if it didn't work, obviously, in the last game. Tennessee were too good for that. Now, the Ravens' offence isn't as good as Tennessee's offence, but it's better than the Texans' offence, so it falls in between the two stalls, so we'll see how it goes. What the Jags want to do, actually, the Jags just want to run Leonard Fournette all day. What I have noticed, I've been watching, I've been back and watched the last couple of games, they're very, even with their run game, they're very basic. They just give the ball to Fournette, and he just runs down the A-gap, which is the gap between the guard and the centre. That's like 80s, 70s, 80s football.
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
That's exactly what it was. And just kill the clock, make sure Blake Bortles doesn't have to throw it as much. That's what they want to do. The Ravens' defence are too good for that. They are stopped up. They've got some of the best run stuffers in the league. Brandon Williams is just is ridiculous against their run. You're not going to shoot the A-gap against them, but I can tell you that now. So,
do you think this is because it's Leonard Fournette and they don't want to get?
No, I think it's the way around. I think it's because Blake Bortles. I don't think they trust him to do anything other than get the ball out as quick as it can.
But even though it is a basic run game.
Well, he's a rookie, isn't he? So maybe it is to do. He is a rookie.
And I think as the season goes on, then we might see that progress slightly.
And also, they've got a bad offensive line, so they don't trust their tackles to run block. I mean, Cam Robinson was a good run blocker in college, and he might develop into one. But again, they're starting a rookie left tackle, so I can see why they want to do it. But I don't think he can do that against Baltimore. I think he again, like saying, he called it the top defense, and that's exactly what they are. And it will be tough for them to play that type of game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Jenno, anything we've heard whispers over the last few years and stuff about the turf at Wembley making a difference to the American football. Do you think that could play a part at the weekend?
Not really, because I think there's going to basically be running into that Baltimore Ravens defence. I mean, I think it's going to be definitely top on run stopping defence. When all you want to do is run the ball, then I don't know what you're going to do. And then they'll have to throw it, and then the Ravens will take the ball away. Weddle leads that secondary very well, and I can't see. I'm not going for the pick already, but I think we already know where we're all going to go here. I can't see how Jacksonville win this game unless they've come back to being Saxonville, which was a great name for like a week.
Actually, one massive thing is Marcel Yonder's out for the Ravens, and he's an elite Pro Bowl level lineman. So and the Jags defense, we saw that pass rush. It is really really good. Jackson and Campbell and Fowler and Goffway, they're all there. They can get. And Joe Flacco's a statue. We know that's what he is. He's not going to run around and make plays. I watched him the other day, and he doesn't look 100% fit yet. I don't think his back is right. So if you can get pressure on him, you'll hit him. He's not going to Russell Wilson. He's not going to Marcus Mariota the other day where they didn't really get near him because he's got wheels. Joe Flacco hasn't. So if Jacksonville are going to win, they're going to win with their game plan, which is smash the quarterback's face and run Leonard Fournette into the. That's how they're going to do it.
Do you expect them, Jenno, to maybe see? I mean, a few shorter step drop, maybe 3 step drop, 5 step drop, to make sure that pressure doesn't have the time to get there from Baltimore? From Jacksonville, sorry.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to be quick passing. I don't think you can sit. I know Joe Flacco was actually best at longer drops where he can really throw downfield. I don't think they trust him right now to do that. So what they need to actually establish is the running game. They need to see whether they can get anything from that running game just so they can try and keep off the pressure. Because again, Jacksonville has actually got a good defense.
Really good.
And this has got the thing of a very low-scoring game, a couple of field goals. You know, you've got the Ravens kickers probably the best in the business. So yeah, I think that's what they've got to do. And because even though when you say Joe Flacco doesn't have wheels, Joe Flacco can move.
He can move,
but not with a back injury. He can't. Not many people can move with a back injury. So it's a big issue. So they need to get the ball out quickly and just get into field goal range and kick a few more field goals than Jaguars.
Yeah, and then, one more question for you then, Ste. The fact is, Jacksonville Jaguars are used to coming over and playing this Wembley game now. Baltimore Ravens, not so much. Do you think that could work in Jaguars' favour?
Yes and no. It's a different coaching staff, isn't it, I suppose, and stuff, so maybe the regime changes. But these Jags won in Wembley last year. You know, they beat the Colts last year. I was there. It was an ugly game, but they managed to get it done, and they were the better side on the day, to be fair. They deserved to win. So I think that is a fact, yeah. And I think when I went to that Jags game last year, there is definitely a home field support there. You know, the fans were into the Jags, and there was the crowd noise and stuff. It was there for them. And they were playing against a team in the Colts who have got a decent following in England, but not a huge one. And the Ravens are the same. If they were playing the Patriots or the Packers or the Cowboys or the Dolphins, who are well supported here, it will be different. But they will be very well supported at Wembley.
Especially because they're moving to Tottenham, just, you know.
Yeah, because it's going to be our team. We're all expecting one day they might be a Jags fans, who knows. But I'm with Jenno. It's going to be a very defensive game, isn't it? And lots of Terence West, you know, and that kind of thing, and Buck Allen or whatever. People think Joe Flacco's this big arm quarterback, and he is, but he loves dump off as well. Yeah. He won the Super Bowl with Ray Rice. He was just dumping it off to Ray Rice all the time. So keep an eye out for that.
Not true of the last few games of that season, but very much so.
Oh, the Super Bowl run, he was on fire. I mean, that was the exception to the rule. You know, I mean, that wasn't the Joe Flacco we've seen.
It was actually 2 straight years the exception to the rule. No one ever gives him credit, but they would have won the 2011 Super Bowl, and he should have if Lee Evans doesn't drop a touchdown. Thank you, mate. I mean, then I got beat by the Giants. So.
Yeah, you're going to say all he did was got used to it, another loss, but you're fine. You've had 5. Yeah. I've picked Baltimore because the Jags are giving themselves one way to win. They can only win one way, and I don't think they're going to be able to establish enough run game, and they're going to make Blake Bortles throw it, and that means it's going to end up on the other team's hands.
Yeah, okay, I'm going Baltimore as well.
Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll move on to the Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. The Denver Broncos, I think if you look at MMQB, they've got them ranked, I think it might be the second best team now in the league, behind the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's right. Mm-hmm. So, you know, everyone's high on the Denver Broncos. I love their performance. It was my favourite performance of the season so far last week in their victory. How do you see this one going, Jenno?
I think it's another one I think I've seen of Denver being very strong in this game. The way they can take away the run, and now we just talked about how Buffalo Bills, all they can do is that 1-2 punch of Taylor and McCoy. And the way we just saw the way Denver took away Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, I'm worrying there for Buffalo, what they're going to do. I think Taylor's in for a bad day of getting Von Miller smashed him in the face, because I just don't think there's anything else. I don't think he throws it well enough to even test a no-fly zone.
Yeah, I mean, Denver's defence is just absolutely fantastic. We've spoken about 2 good defences in the last game, and this one's right up there. They've been so impressive against the run. That was their major weakness last year, and they've identified it and they fixed it. Shady McCoy can still run on anyone, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, he's amazing. He could pull something out the bag, but I can't see, if he can't establish the run, Tyrod Taylor's not going to beat that defence with his arm, because he just can't. The receivers aren't good enough for a start, you know what I mean? Who's their best receiver, Jordan Matthews or Zay Jones or something?
Is it Woods still there?
I think it's probably Matthews is probably their best.
Yeah, that's going to be hard. I mean, how are you going to get open against Talib and Roby and Harris Jr.? It's nigh on impossible.
For me, it was the way that, like, you saw Von Miller. All right, he picks up 2 late sacks in the last game, like 4-quarter sacks, I think they were. I think maybe 3 off cycles. He looks bang up for getting Defensive Player of the Year again this season. That's his aim, isn't it?
But he was gutted when he didn't win last year.
Yeah, absolutely. He wants to go down as one of the best of all time. He's got a defense around him that can make that a reality and stuff. So for me, I think Denver are going to blow these out, to be honest with you. I think they will stuff the run again, and I think they'll rack up points. Not as many as last week, don't get me wrong.
I do just think it's funny that Von Miller, who loves chickens, got to be chasing around the quarterback who runs around like a headless chicken.
Go and catch them all. I mean, Tyrod's had 350 yards, combined passing yards in 2 games.
2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
He's a good running quarterback, he's not a good throwing quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if Denver can get at least 1 defensive score, whether it's off a sack fumble or off an interception return like they've just done to Dak Prescott. Yeah, we put this game in, didn't we, because we wanted to speak. We don't think we've given enough love to Denver's defense, and I think it deserves it. I mean, I would pick Denver by any scoreline.
So let's talk about the Denver offense. C.J. Anderson 4.4 yards per attempt, Jamal Charles 4.5 yards per attempt. Bills conceding only 2.7 yards per rushing attempt. So they're going up against a good rushing defense as well, Jenno. The way that they played last week, for me, the Denver Broncos, I think there was just too many parts all humming at exactly the same time for the Bills to be able to stop it. You know, loads of different types of run plays and stuff. Do you think that's going to be the theme of this game, or do you think the Bills are going to make Trevor Siemian, or at least attempt to make Siemian win it with his arm?
I think they're going to try and make Siemian win it with his arm, but I actually fancy Siemian to actually be able to do that, because I'm not sure about Buffalo's secondary, and I'm looking at Emmanuel Sanders, who's very good at getting open, and Thomas is still, I think he's fell off the last few years, but he's still a decent player. I can't see their secondary being able to cope with the wide receiving options, and then that'll start to open up the game. Again, I think it's going to be a blowout from Denver, but I think it could be one of those ones where it's quite close for a long time, where they're in scoring distance, and it's just at the end of the game with like an interception return for a touchdown that's going to blow the game open.
I really, really hope Buffalo do stop the run, because I want to see Trevor Siemian have to win it with his arm when there is no run game. In the 2 wins they've had so far, the run game hasn't been spectacular, but it's been efficient. You know, 4 yards a carry, you're fine. That means if you run twice, you're in 3rd and 2, and you're not in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. I want to see that. I want to hope, from my point of view, to evaluate Trevor Siemian, that Denver find themselves in 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, and to see how he gets on, because all he's done so far, and I'm not knocking him, he's the game manager, and that's fine, because you've got that, you know, they won a Super Bowl with a game manager, so you can do it. I really hope if Buffalo can go at 2 yards a carry against the run, so he finds himself in 3rd and 7 a lot. Can he beat them with his arm? It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. And listen, he's got the weapons, 2 elite wide receivers. The 3rd and 4th wide receiver all caught passes last weekend. Tight end caught passes as well. So we'll see. I've picked Denver Broncos. Yeah,
Broncos.
Okay, we'll move on then to the Cleveland Browns at the Indianapolis Colts. It's the first time the Browns have opened as betting favourites since October 2014 in an away game. That is mental.
Because he's not really, it's a different crap.
But there are other crap teams in the NFL.
Are you saying it's mental that they're actually favourites, or it's mental that they're
kind of both, to be honest?
That's highly embarrassing for the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. Highly embarrassing. They're one of the established really franchises in the league, and the Colts are walking in. I think they opened at 2.5 point favourites, and now, as we record, it's down to 1. So a lot of people were obviously taking the Colts with the points at home, and rightly so. I think that's a good idea to do. I mean, again, this will be a huge test for the Colts. If the Browns come into your building and beat you at home, genuinely, it could be the end of the coach. He could get sacked if it's ugly, and you know, if there's like 70,000-80,000 people booing the fuck out of you.
Did you just self-mute?
I didn't watch it. Nice,
I like it.
Yeah, so I'd save an editing job later.
Never edited off the swear words on this.
Steve, we're not editing off swear words, please.
Booing the fuck out of you. Then, as an owner, imagine sitting in that box and you're watching the Cleveland Browns with a rookie quarterback beating you, and all the fans booing, and you're probably going to sack a coach. Chuck Pagano, I think, absolutely needs to win this game, or he could find himself, you know, on the unemployment line.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need to see what Jacoby Brissett can do, because when I watched Jacoby Brissett, he was fine running with the ball. It's what he could do actually throwing the ball, and they need him to show something in this game. Otherwise, I think you're right. I think we could be seeing the end of Chuck Pagano era, which I think we're going to see at the end of the season anyway. Yeah. But they are garbage, the Colts. The Browns are also garbage, but at least they look like they're garbage coming up. The Colts seem to just be getting worse and worse, and then just praying for Andrew Luck, who even the Andrew Luck stuff, it's coming out more and more. Do you think it's Andrew Luck who won't play? because it's in his head. It's not even that his injury should have healed by now. So the Colts are a mess.
He just doesn't want to play behind that line, mate.
Yeah, no, there's that.
Blame him.
That's why. He's like, until you sort this out, I'm not going back in there. I'm getting hit all the time.
Yeah,
like.
the line improved a bit last year, especially on the left-hand side, but then injuries, they lost their centre and stuff, and they've just been a mess. They're an absolute mess. And yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Browns' defence does against the quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, because the Browns have, they done okay against Ben Roethlisberger, didn't they, in week 1? They weren't absolutely horrendous. Last week, not so much. They were the hit and miss, but this is a chance for them to step up, isn't it? You know what I mean? And get some pressure on a guy who very much is he's Jacoby Brissett. He's a developing quarterback. He's better than Scott Tolzien, so the Colts are right to play him, but they're still a million miles away, the Colts. And I think, listen, not a lot of people are probably going to watch this game, because obviously for the neutral it's not that important, but I think it'll be interesting to see how two young quarterbacks looking to make their way in the league, because these two could be starters next year for somebody, whether it's these two teams or not. It'll be interesting to see how they get on.
Do you think Jacoby Brissett changes the fact that they've only managed to get 8 of 28 third downs so far this season?
Well, he's part of that. Last week he couldn't get a third down against an admittedly very good Arizona defense, but that's their issue, isn't it? They just can't sustain drives. They're just not scoring enough points. The Rams blew them out last year. They were competitive against the Cardinals defensive wise, and I'll go now. I've picked the Colts in this game just based on that, but and the fact they're at home. But other than that, mate, it really is a toss up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jenna, who have you gone for, mate?
Well, see, I thought I'd gone for the underdog, but apparently not. I think as long as Deshaun Kaiser plays, and that's to be one caveat. If it's Kevin Hogan, then no. But if Kaiser plays, I've gone for the Browns. I think they're going to win this game.
Browns on the road.
Yeah, and I've gone for the Browns simply because Steve's gone for the Colts and he's not very good at the pick 'em.
It's a fair point.
I'm so sorry, mate. I did go for the Browns. Nothing to do with Steve. I've just found out his pick. So we'll move on then. Giants at Eagles. Giants offense struggling, as we know. Eli Manning thrown under the bus by Ben McAdoo last weekend. Giant fans going mental, heads rolling, dropping off, throwing Ben McAdoo under the bus. They are a franchise that looks to be heading in the wrong direction at the moment. Jenno, do you think you can foresee them turning that around against that Eagles front seven?
No, because simply put, I mean, we've been watching Eli. I know we've been talking about it, but for the last 2 years, the guy's been throwing nothing but ducks, and he's been getting away with it because he's got Odell Beckham. And now this season, the line's even worse, and it's coming more and more through that Eli's done. Just because players like Tom Brady, who has this crazy training regime and diet to stay till 41, not everyone can do that. You do age.
He's an anomaly, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
These others have found out about it on the MMQB podcast after the Super Bowl, do you know what I mean? And they're all like, yoga? Yeah, let's do yoga, that's fine.
Yoga and veganism,
We'll be fine. We can just start now and carry on.
Yeah. There's no way Eli doesn't turn burgers down, I'm telling you now. Eli loves a burger.
I was Ross Tucker talking about how all he used to eat was chips on the plane and that. But yeah, so I think Eli's done, which, good.
Not the front, yeah.
And I think we're going to see it more and more. I think we could even end up seeing Geno Smith coming in eventually by the end of the season, because I think that's how bad Eli's playing, and he's giving them nothing.
You know, mate, I know you've got them there, but the Giants have scored 20 points.
Mate, I'll go through them now. In their last 8 games, including the playoff loss against Green Bay, they've scored 10, 3, 13, 19, 19, 17, 10 and 14, and they expect to win games.
And the only reason he won a few, because the defense was so good, and that's taken a slight step back, because you can't maintain it. You can't win games in the NFL. You can't score 20 points. 20, that's ridiculous. And listen, mate, I fear for Eli in this game, because Eric Flowers is an absolute turnstile, and whoever lines up over there, whether they put Cox or Curry, Bennett, it could be any of them. Graham, they're gonna
send the house.
Oh wow, it's gonna be messy, and it again probably a low scoring game. But can Carson Wentz avoid, and the Eagles get away with because to be fair, the Giants defense have played pretty well in the last couple of games. They just haven't had a chance. They've had no score to defend. Again, I fear if I pick the Giants to win that division, I'm well off. I think they are. That offense is garbage, it's crap, and their only hope, they just need to plan. They just need to get Eli to getting slants to Odell and just hope and pray that he's fit. And he clearly wasn't the other day. He played the other day, and he wasn't. Beckham, was he? He was obviously still recovering, but that's a really, really tough match to go on again, mate. If they go 0-3, imagine the New York press, it's going to go mad. And rightly so, because I'm not convinced Ben McAdoo's a very good coach, by the way. In fact, I'm convinced he's not. He was at Green Bay for a while, offensive coordinator, and he was fine, but I mean, it's
all look fine when you got Rodgers.
It's a mess. It's a real, really, it's really ugly. It's gone really, really south, and no running game to help Eli out, no O-line to help him. We've got one star player. Brandon Marshall is, I mean, he might as well, when he signed, we all thought that's going to be a great duo, Marshall and Beckham. Well, Marshall's looking like he's done. You know,
another year without no playoffs for Marshall.
He can't get.
That's the maddest stat.
That's crazy, isn't it?
He can't get open. He can't get open at all. He just cannot separate. If he can't get open against the Eagles second day, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and listen, before we wrap it up on there, I just want to talk about the Eagles' offense as well. I think it's only fair. We've talked about the defense, we've talked about the Giants, both sides of the ball. Now, I've been really impressed with Carson Wentz so far this season. He's obviously still making those mistakes, but he's still finding receivers down the field. He's handled himself really well, I've thought, when he's been behind in games. You know, he's not afraid to make those throws where you see some young quarterbacks still afraid to go down the field and stuff. He's been able to find receivers who are open. He's been able to score points as well. So I think the Eagles will be able to score a few points. I do think it's going to be one of those low-scoring games again, but I think ultimately the Eagles are going to run out on top.
Yeah, I do. The last two teams who have played New York have gone after Eli Apple. So the Lions targets them, and the Cowboys targets them. And I imagine that the Eagles are trying to get Alshon Jeffrey matched up against them, and there's only one winner in that outcome. It's not Eli Apple. So I'm picking the Eagles at home, and the Giants are going to disarray at 0-3.
Yeah, so I'm picking the Eagles. I think you're right. It could be a good game for Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, I like the way Carson Wentz, he's willing to throw it. He's really willing to throw it downfield. He doesn't panic and just try and dump off. But the only thing that does worry about the Eagles is there's no run game.
No.
There's no run game. I mean, LeGarrette Blount's just sitting there. I don't know what he's doing. They don't want to use him. And Sproles, you can't build a run game around Sproles. So that's the kind of hope for the Giants, that they can't run the ball. But I'm still going Eagles.
Yeah, same.
Why do you think they can't build a running game around Sproles?
Because he can't stay healthy. He's too small, and you should never build your run game around your punt returner as well. Because they're going to take some mad hits, and then you're going to take more hits, and then it's not going to
I think you can.
I think it's been done around him.
Yeah,
to be fair, like I know he's much older now. You know, we're a few years removed from his
it's
Charger days.
It's going to be more like dump offs and stuff. It's not going to be. It's not going to be running behind it. He's not going to be running. You know, waiting for holes and running through them or bursting through power. But I think you might just get away with it. But you don't want Darren Sproles having 20.
Who's the other guy that got? Is Smallwood
as well? Yeah. You don't really want 20 carries for Darren Sproles, ideally, do you? So I'm surprised we're not seeing Blount. He must be rubbish in practice or something, because you'd even use him just to move the chains a little bit. Get from a couple of yards, but they're not using him at all. But I think the Giants are in trouble. I think they really are. I think they're a declining team at the moment, especially on offense. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if we're hearing quarterback whispers in this year for the Giants.
Okay, so we're going to take a spin around the league.
Jenno,
come on, lad, get in, lad. That's it. Let's wind it up. We're going into the Rams San Francisco 49ers. Jenno, one line: Rams San Francisco, and who your pick is?
Rams. Just all day Rams. Their defense is better than anything San Francisco has.
Wow, he did that quick as well. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, I've gone Rams as well. San Francisco defense didn't get much love last week. They'd done well against Seattle, and they could do the same against the Rams. But again, the Rams defense, I think, is going to be just too much for San Francisco offense.
Yeah, I've gone Rams as well. We'll probably spend a little bit more time on the next one, because I think this is quite an interesting one. It's New Orleans at Carolina Panthers, Steve.
Yeah, again, this is a big game for the Saints. Absolutely. I mean, they're 0-3 if they lose on the road to a divisional rival. The Panthers 2-0 haven't really impressed.
They've not excelled, have they?
They've scraped a few wins, haven't they? They lost Greg Olsen, which is absolutely huge. That is a massive, massive blow. The Saints have to win this game, really, haven't they? You've got, if you fall 3 games behind in the division, with having lost the tiebreaker as well, that's a big gap to go if you've got any playoff aspirations whatsoever. I think the Carolina defense is fantastic, and that's the reason I've picked them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going for the Panthers. I just think their defense is going to be able to stop the Saints offense. I think the Saints defense will fall apart on a couple of maybe Cam Newton runs and maybe a Benjamin touchdown. And again, I think there's going to be another low-scoring game, which is becoming a theme of this week.
Yeah, I've gone for the Saints this time around. It's not that I disagree with what you guys are saying. I think I think you're right, and the logic's there, and it's sound. I think Greg Olsen's going to be a big miss. I think one of the weaknesses of that New Orleans Saints defense is those linebackers and tight ends are catching far too many passes, or just any pass in between the numbers. The New Orleans Saints just seem to just give up completely. I've not been impressed with the Carolina Panthers offense enough that
rightly so.
So I don't think that they're going to score maybe more than 20 points. And I do think that Drew Brees can do that. And I think it was a flip of the coin for me, but ultimately I've come down on the side of New Orleans Saints and them to go 1-2 and Panthers to go 2-1. So we'll go into Pittsburgh at Chicago, Jenno. Steelers, great form at the moment. Chicago, terrible week last week against the Buccaneers. Who do you think's going to win?
That usually means Chicago will win, because Steelers against teams that are bad away are usually terrible. And when I originally done this pick, I did have Chicago, and then I bottled it last minute and I picked the Steelers.
I don't think this will be an easy game for Pittsburgh. People are probably expecting this to be a blowout and stuff. I don't think it is. Steelers aren't good on the road for a start. They're just about effective and stuff. Chicago were very good at home against the Falcons, albeit in week 1. They were absolutely dreadful last week. The issue Chicago have got is they've just got no offense. The teams are just stuffing the run. Jordan Howard's got nowhere to go, and they're throwing passes to lads who can't catch. It's a simple thing.
You think we're going to see a little bit more of Cohen this week?
He tried last week, and he was involved more, and he had a fumble, I think, didn't he, and stuff. Yeah. He struggled a bit, and because teams are game plan for him now, because no one's scared of the receiving threats. Especially, they lost Kevin White, who he might not have been good anyway. We don't know because he's always been hurt, but they've got no offense. How Glennon isn't great anyway, and he's got nobody to throw to, and that's the ultimate reason is that's why you have to go for the Steelers in this game, because you just cannot see how the Bears score over 14 to 17 points. That'll be tough be a tough ask. And we spoke on the last show, the Steelers can be having a tough game, and in a blink of an eye, there's a 50-yard pass, or someone's a blown coverage and
Brown's free. That's
gone.
it.
Exactly. Bryant, Bell. There's just too many guys who can just in a blink of an eye can do you. And I think it'll be a close game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a fourth quarter type game where the Bears keep it close-ish.
And if it comes down to that, normally the quarterback who's better.
Exactly. What a star player makes a play or two, Antonio Brown or whatever, like you say. So that's why I've gone Steelers. But in a tighter game than maybe some expect.
Okay, I've gone Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I'll start off on this one then. It's Atlanta Falcons against the Detroit Lions. I think this is probably where we're going to see some of the scoring from this week, to be honest with you. Yeah. Maybe both mid to high 20s. I've gone Atlanta Falcons in a shootout. I said before the season that I really rated the Atlanta Falcons. They've done nothing that's made me change my mind on them at all. I thought they've bounced back really well from that Super Bowl loss so far this season. All the attacking threats are still there. And again, Detroit Lions, although they've won games this season already, they just tend to lose out to better sides. They don't tend to... For me, there's never that many upsets with the Detroit Lions.
Well, Matt Stafford's record against winning teams isn't fantastic. Or playoff teams. This is what the Lions tend to do. They tend to beat up on the worst teams, or the poor. And we think the Cardinals are going to be a bad team, don't we? And we think the Giants are going to be a bad team. We never thought that going in, but now we do. So now is their chance to go and beat someone at home who is a genuine contender. Because to be fair, when they beat the Cardinals, we all thought maybe the Cardinals were, and then it turns out they weren't. No. And we thought maybe the Giants were, and it turns out they're not. So to be fair to the Lions, they've had a really good start. But if you want to be the team, a genuine playoff team, a genuine Super Bowl contender, go and beat the Atlanta Falcons at home. Yeah. And I don't think they will. I picked the Falcons.
I disagree then. I've actually went the Lions. The way the Falcons keep stagnating in the fourth quarter, you're always brilliant in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Matthew Stafford. In the fourth quarter is brilliant. And if the Falcons don't have a huge lead on the Lions, I genuinely think we're going to see some Stafford magic, some sidearm throws, the Golden Tate, and I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Fair fucks. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Minnesota Vikings. Yeah.
Do we know Sam Bradford's knee stuff.
I don't think he's going to be back for this.
Okay, I've gone for the Vikings. I'm going to change that if it's Case Keenum.
Yeah, I've not heard anything. I've not looked today, if I'm honest.
We don't really know till about Friday.
Yeah, you wouldn't know
exactly.
anyway. Okay.
Listen, if he's not playing, we've got no chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'd pick the Vikings because I think that defense is going to terrorise Jameis Winston. I think they're going to get in his head, and if he gets pass rush, he more than most quarterbacks in the league does something stupid when he gets pass rush. And the Vikings defense has been great the last few games, mate. Even against the Steelers, it was really, really good. There was just no offense. If Bradford plays and there's some offense to generate, then I'm happy to go Vikings.
Yeah, I'd do the same. I think for me, it's a case of, listen, this Vikings defense, as good as it is, and listen, I'm a Vikings supporter, the fact is, if you've got no offense, you can't do it consistently, you can't do it for 4 quarters, because you just get too tired.
You've got no chance. If Case Keenum's playing, write it off, but if it's Bradford, and I will go with the Vikings, although I am excited to see how Tampa Bay's offense plays on the road against a good team, because they just annihilated the Bears at home last week. So let's see them go on the road against a top 10 defense, see how they get on.
Well, see, I've went for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think they are going to show that they are a team that everyone should be aware of. Okay. I mean, I put them in the playoffs at the start of the season in our prediction show, and I'm still fully behind that they would beat Chicago, because don't forget, Atlanta Falcons struggled against Chicago, and Tampa Bay just bitch slapped them everywhere. So I'm actually looking forward to what they can do, and I fancy them to win with or without Sam Bradford.
Ooh, with or without. I went for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I'd change my mind if Sam Bradford was playing. So we move on, Jenno, to your side. It's the Houston Texans, who have, in fairness, given the New England Patriots some tough games down the last couple of years. Who are you going for in this game?
We know who I'm going for, but the thing is, this is going to be such a low-scoring game because we've got no weapons left. It's going to be James White as our slot receiver, Cooks on the outside, and then we're just going to have to hope for the best because everyone else is injured. So it's going to be such a low-scoring game, but I think we're going to have to stop Deshaun Watson's runs, and it's just how many times Brady can avoid getting smacked in the face by Watt and see what we can get. I mean, it generally we could win this game. I wouldn't be surprised, 20 to like 12 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking New England at home. It's a banker, not a banker, but I'll always pick New England at home pretty much against anyone, I think now.
Did it factor into your thinking, Steve, that Houston have had a few extra days to a game plan for this?
Not so much game plan, more rest. I think that's key. And like I said, Jenno said, the injuries is an issue, is a thing that absolutely, you know, the Patriots are really, really struggling in terms of the weapons all going down. But the Texans have got no offense. They've got no offense at all. And the Patriots have had no pass rush, but even they might do well against this Houston line because it's trash, isn't it? It's absolute rubbish. I'm not having that Deshaun Watson can go into New England as a rookie quarterback and Bill Belichick not have something that, you know, all the Patriots need to do is they don't even really need to generate pass rush. Just play contain, keep him in the pocket, make sure he can't get out, and then see what happens. And he'll chuck it to DeAndre Hopkins, and that's great and stuff. But DeAndre Hopkins is never open. You've just got to hope that you've got to throw him a contested catch and hope he wins it. And will he be able to do that against Gilmore and Butler? Possibly, he could, because he's an excellent receiver. But
we've actually dropped Butler out now, and Rose playing ahead of him. So that's just the interesting thing on the Patriots to just have a look at. Butler never got his contract in the off-season, and he's not playing very well right now. So it is another concern for the Patriots. But I always trust that McCourtney will stop anyone when they actually break free. I think that's what the Patriots do well. Even if you make the catch, McCourtney always stops you before you make a big touchdown.
Bend, don't break.
Yeah, very much so. And like I say, there's no way you can pick a rookie quarterback going into New England. Nah, that's mental.
Listen, I watched that game last week, and although I was impressed with Watson, it was 2 plays he broke out on, and I thought the defence was terrible on those plays as well. You know, even I think it was a 48-yard run or something like that. They had a chance to stop that hole from appearing. You know, the pocket broke down and stuff, and he should have been stopped much earlier. The New England Patriots don't make silly mistakes like that. Whatever, whoever's on that squad doesn't make those mistakes. And yeah.
Good tackling team, the Patriots. People forget that. Good tackling
that's
team.
What we look for with drafting corners is, can you tackle? We can teach you how to cover, but can you tackle? Are you willing to tackle? Because we won't play people who won't tackle. Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on then to the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Fairly easy, Miami.
I've picked Miami. I've got to. I mean, I don't think I'm going to pick the Jets any game this season because they don't want to win. So why should I predict they're going to win? They hung around with the Raiders for a while, didn't they? But in the end, it went too much. The Jets, you know why? What the issue with the Jets is, they should be good defensively because they've got the talent still. They've got a defensive coach, but they're not. Teams are running all over them. Big JJ. I mean, JJ should eat this weekend, shouldn't he, and stuff. And that's the type of performance that's going to get Todd Bowles fired, which is really harsh because they're stripping all his assets away from him. But he's still got enough defensively where they should be doing a bit better than what they are, and they're not. And I think this will be relatively straightforward for Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a Miami blowout. I think they're going to absolutely destroy them. I think JOJ is going to have a day. I think even Landry and Parker are going to look good as well. I don't see the problem.
Is Landry okay now? There was something going on with him last week.
Yeah, he was all right. I think he came out of the game, and Kenny Stills as well.
Yeah,
they won another one. Too much.
There's more weapons than what the Jets have, and I just don't trust the Jets offense. The only thing that I think guys got to go for the Jets is they might actually run the ball against the Raiders for the first half. So at least that's the one bit of hope. If you've got a Jets fan, you might be able to run it.
And Jermaine Kearse looked okay,
but I don't see it. I think they're going to get smacked everywhere.
I can't pick the Jets. It's impossible. I think he'd be stupid too.
Okay, we'll move on. Seattle Seahawks at Tennessee Titans. Jenno, where are you going with this one, mate?
I am going to Titans. I think the Seahawks offenses look terrible. That's the only reason how bad their offenses looked. I think the Titans are going to be able to make a few more plays than them and win. I think this is more how bad I think Seattle are playing right now than how much I actually like the Titans, why I picked them.
Yeah, I picked the Titans as well, mate. And again, I'm a huge Seattle fan in terms of what they do. I think defensively they're outstanding. But how can you pick an offense that can't score points? I mean, they scored 1 touchdown in 2 games, and it came on a broken play where Russell Wilson was just a magician because he can do that, rightly so, against an average-ish, the 49ers defense was good, but there's no secondary, and Richardson was wide open on the scramble. I think the Titans will be more aware of that. They're going to try and play contain and just keep him in the pocket, and they've got a decent pass rush, haven't they? And the Packers pass rush dominated the Seattle line, and Tennessee's pass rush is probably comparable to the Packers, where it's not an outstanding group, but it's not a terrible group. It's middle of the road defense, and middle of the road defense is getting through. And I do feel really sorry for Russell Wilson because I'm a huge fan, but I think a low scoring game where I don't think Derrick Henry is going to run for tons of yards because Seattle are really difficult to run on, but I just think there's going to be just about enough for Tennessee at home just to squeak it out because I worry about that line until that line does something different. So it's hard to pick Seattle.
And literally, for all the same reasons that you've just mentioned, Seattle haven't got an offense at the moment. Tennessee Titans is my pick as well. We'll move on then. Cincinnati Bengals at Green Bay Packers. Listen, Bengals have been absolutely terrible so far this season. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. It's in Green Bay. It's Lambeau Field. It's one of the best records at home of any team in the league over however many years you want to look at it. They've got probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. For me, it's Green Day. It's Green Day all day.
Listen, I'm picking the Packers. Packers are injured a lot. Packers are very, very injured. This isn't the worst game to have.
Is Jordy Nelson questionable as well as Cobb?
And Daniels. They're all day-to-day. The tackles are day-to-day. They're not out yet, as we record, but they're not in. You know what I mean? There's no word. But the Bengals have been garbage, haven't they? They've been absolutely terrible, and I think this one will be a bit nervy at times, perhaps. But the Packers have to win this game because you've just got to. You can't let Cincinnati come into your building and win because they've been one of the worst teams in the league, haven't they, all year? And if Mike Daniels is fit, there's no chance for that line. If he's not, they've got a chance. But to be fair, what I was impressed with at the weekend, Clay Matthews starting to look a little bit like Clay Matthews again. He's not back there yet, but he was a bit better. How can you pick Andy Dalton at the moment? It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So please tell me you're going for the Bengals.
Oh, of course. So you've literally took the words out. I was going to say, I saw Clay Matthews for the first time in about 2 years in the last game. I can't see. I think we need to put Aaron Rodgers on a few rollouts to stay away from Geno Watkins because he was destroying the Texans and he is the one elite player on that Bengals team. But outside that, I just can't see their offense doing anything. And if you roll out past Geno Watkins, then their defense is going to get destroyed. So I just think I can't see anything else but the Packers at Lambeau. I mean, I don't know how anyone. I can't see anyone predicting anything different.
Okay, so we'll go on. Kansas City Chiefs Chargers. I'll be really surprised if anyone's got the Chargers here, lads.
Yeah, Chiefs.
I went the Chiefs. I think we all done that.
We're off the Chargers bandwagon, aren't we?
In the review show, we all said how much that we've just dropped off the Chargers, and we've just The only concern thing I've got for the Chiefs though is Alex Smith, as well as he's playing, when the pocket collapses, he never steps up in it. He sprints, and he could be getting. That's a problem, especially with that pass rush. There's your hope if you're a Chargers fan. But I'm not. I'm going Chiefs.
I think it might be closer than the Chargers. Just Chargers at the end. They'll do something stupid because that's what they did. That's what they do. Miss a field goal or Phil Rivers interception or a fumble when they're trying to kill the clock or something. I think the Chiefs are the best team in the league at the minute in terms of what they're showing.
I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't. I think the Chiefs are going to walk all over them. They're going to dominate them. And Alex Smith and that offense, once again, trick plays are plenty. You'll see the excitement of Hunt and everything else that they've had going for them so far this season.
Travis Kelce's going to have a day. Travis Kelce's going to have a day against that defense. I think he's class.
Yeah. Okay, so probably another one that we've all gone exactly the same. In fact, there's not many been different this week, is there? No. Am I the only one with Saints that's gone different?
We differed on Browns Colts, I think, as well. And that's and Bucks Vikings.
Yeah.
All right, okay. There's not many though, is there? No. Okay, so yeah, Oakland Raiders, Washington Redskins. Jenno?
Yeah, I'm going Raiders. Again. It's mad that we keep talking about all these boss teams and they're all in the NFC West, which is exactly what we thought it was going to be. I think the Raiders' weapons, I mean, that run, the running options, I just can't see Washington being able to stop it. And I don't believe that Kirk Cousins is going to beat Derek Carr if it becomes a shootout.
Yeah, what I would say is that Washington should take some hope from how the Jets ran the ball in the first half against the Raiders, because they did. And the Washington running game is what won that last game against the Rams, wasn't it? You know, it was Thompson and Rob Kelly for a while where they were just a bit more explosive. But again, I've got to pick Oakland there. I think it'd be unwise not to. They're just too many weapons, and the guys who you're not. It isn't even the Coopers and the Crabtrees who are playing well by all means, and Lynch is playing well. But then Richard comes in and just breaks a play away. And is it Washington?
Washington.
Cordell, we saw a rare Cordell Patterson sighting and stuff. It's just like the Oakland offense is really, really motoring at the moment, and I still question their defense. And I think come January that could be a big issue, where they can't be as an expansive team. Sorry, but at this time of the year, against that Washington defense, I think they're gonna. Would you be surprised if they didn't score 24 points? It would be.
I would be surprised.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then can you imagine Washington scoring 24?
No.
There's your answer, isn't it?
Yeah. Final game of the week to look at this time. It's the Dallas Cowboys at the Arizona Cardinals. Excuse me. I've got Dallas to bounce back in this game. I think, we saw a blueprint for how to maybe deal with Zeke Elliott. Cardinals have got a good defense. Zeke has had a terrible week in the media with being called out by LT. And then loads of people have been talking about him in the press. It's been all over it. We all know that. He's just going to bounce back,
fat, haven't they?
Mate, he is going to bounce back, and he is going to eat all day long.
Again, mate, I like the Cardinals defense, but they've just got no offense at the moment. They've got nothing. Carson Palmer's just not playing well at all. Kevin Williams isn't scaring nobody coming out the backfield, is he? And stuff like that. What I would say is that Denver blew them away. Denver took them to school and stuff. So there's a sort of a blueprint there, but I agree. I think Dallas to bounce back in a relatively low scoring game. I'm not sure it'll be a Zeke game more than it'll be a Des Bryant type game. I think you might see a bit of Des. I don't think it's going to be as close, as wide open in terms. The Cowboys' offense. Again, there's been a few question marks. I think they haven't been amazing after in the last two games. They were decent against the Giants. They were pretty good. They were pretty poor against the Broncos, and the Cardinals have got a good defense. But again, the offense of Arizona is really concerning, isn't it? It's been really, really poor. And how can you pick them at this? I don't know. You can.
Well, see, I'm not going to pick the Cowboys because I just think it's going to be at the end of the game where the Cowboys are really going to take over and dominate, because that offensive line, I think he's going to get some good runs, or whoever else is, maybe they swap him out and put someone else in, and it's going to be in that fourth quarter the Cowboys break away, because the Cardinals defense is going to end up being goosed because their offense gives them nothing. And then when you're goosed and you have these big guys running at you, suddenly you start missing tackles, and that's when the game gets taken away from them.
Arizona have got an issue at the opposite the opposite cornerback to Patrick Peterson. I think is it Bethel playing there? I think it is at the moment.
Might be, I don't know.
And I think it depends if Patrick Peterson follows Des around, and fair play, because obviously we've seen Des be man marked out of games, or man coverage out of games in the past, but if he can get on Bethel, he can get on the secondary past the secondary cornerback. I think you might see a fair play.
Just before we wrap up, where do you sit on how good Des Bryant is?
He's declining. I think that's fair to say. I think injuries taking a toll, but in the red zone, he's nigh on unstoppable. He's still one of the best red zone targets about. His issue isn't it, Des. His issue is more the game plan. The game plan's to feed Zeke, like you say, and Dak Prescott's still a young quarterback who isn't amazing. He isn't an amazing passer. He likes to go intermediate. He isn't a great long passer, but Des is a top 10 wide receiver.
I disagree. I've always felt Des has been overrated. I think he's been overrated his whole career. Okay. I think he makes a lot of good contested catches, but I think he goes missing for huge sections of games and no one says. And he's always bad this because he's in such a big media market. People are like, oh, he's a top 3 wide receiver. I don't think he ever has been. I think he's always been in that 5 to 10 range. And that's why I think he's always been a lot more hype than there is about actual performances.
Well, I agree with that. That's why I asked the question, to be honest with you. I think he goes missing, exactly like you said, but he makes those plays, and every time he makes one of those contested catches, you see it over and over again. And I think that's just put into your mind, and you think that that's what happens all the time. I watched the Dallas Cowboys a lot, and I watched them a lot last season. He just doesn't make the easy catches easily either.
We all get forced to watch the NFC East a lot and get told what a good division is, even though most of the time it's garbage. I have a serious problem with the NFC East. It's the most overexposed and underachieving division there is, and I think that's why we see like Odell Beckham people will see more hyped up than a Julio Jones, and I'd always take Julio over Odell. It's because of the media markets in America, and it does funnel down to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair. I like Des, I'll be honest. I think he's really... What concerned me was week 1, Jenkins took him out the game. Just absolutely took him out the game. It wasn't even close. He was running routes and he was just pushing him out of bounds, and that shouldn't happen. But I think what happens with Des is, if he knows he's not getting the ball on a route, he kind of half-asses it. But you know what I mean? Terrible. Which isn't great, I agree. If his number's called, I think I think you can tell from how he breaks from the line of scrimmage if his number's been called. I think he half-asses it a little bit if it's not. And that's why you'll never see him. Dak will never go to a third read. He's either his read or he's not. But again, if they can scheme him away from Patrick Peterson, he'll have a good game. If Patrick Peterson's on him, he won't. And that's why he's not Brown, Jones, Beckham, but he's certainly he's in the AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Jordy Nelson.
For me, he's got elite level skills, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's not an elite wide receiver.
That's right. Yeah, fair enough.
So there you go, that is the preview show for week 3. Don't forget to check back on the channel later on after the weekend, of course, with the review show Overtime, where we go through each and every single game of the weekend. We go 4 games to begin with, and then we take a little spin around. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, tell your friends about it, and get commenting, because Ste will answer your comments, because everybody else forgets. Thanks for watching. Bye.